Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's Reddit stories are from Am I the A-Hole? Story 1 is by Reasonable Read 222. Am I the a-hole for excluding my adopted sister from family photos? This is a throwaway and I'm using fake names. I'm a 26 female and my adopted sister Allie is 14 female. The way we're, quote, related is that my younger brother Michael, 24 male, has been with his wife Maya, 24 female, since their freshman year of high school. Maya and Allie had a really bad home life and my mom is very much a my home is open to everyone type of person. So over that year, Maya began spending more and more time at our house, eventually bringing Allie over as well, since she was always babysitting. By the time Michael and Maya were 16 years old, Maya basically lived in the guest room and Allie spent after school, most weekends, holidays, and summer vacation at our house. My mom and dad say they love both Maya and Allie like their own children. My other siblings, 18 male and 16 female, also treat her like she's part of the family. Even after Maya and Michael moved out, Allie is still at their house the same amount, if not more than she was before. Now, to preface, I have nothing against Allie. She's a good kid and I make an effort to be nice to her. However, I've never really liked how she was foisted into our lives. She's not actually adopted and she still has parents and her own family. Yet my parents spend so much time and resources on her, it's ridiculous. Everyone else has started unironically calling her their daughter or sister, and I've refused. I don't consider her to be family. Anyways, I got married recently, which is where the issues start. I invited Allie to the wedding, of course, and she came with all the other family. When we were doing photos of the wedding parties, I decided that I wanted one with all my immediate family, so my parents, siblings, and Maya and Michael's daughter. My mom brought Allie up to take the picture with us, and I was forced to tell her no. My mom started to get upset, but then Allie said it was okay and sat down by herself. My mom isn't a very confrontational person, so she didn't make a big deal of it then, but everyone else realized Allie wasn't there and they got mad as well. Ultimately, we took the photo how I wanted it because they didn't want to do this at my wedding, but my entire family is pissed at me now. My mom said that Allie cried when she got home because I don't love her, which I don't. I feel like they forced me into a position where I had to do an a-hole thing by forcing this kid onto me. I don't think I should have to consider her family if I don't want to. Am I the a-hole? Edit. After the ceremony but before the reception, the wedding party and both of our close families took photos. I did not include Allie in this photo session, and she sat with the rest of the regular guests waiting for dinner. I did not intentionally exclude her from any of the photos taken. I'm sure she's in some of them throughout the night, especially because she was there with my family. I hope that clears some things up. Why do you consider Maya to be part of the family and she's not? Technically, if you wanted a picture with just your immediate family, Maya and Allie should have been excluded from that first photograph. Maya's not your immediate family, she's just not, so why are you so resentful of the little girl? Edit 2. Maya and Allie are sisters. Sorry, forgot to explicitly say that in my post. Final edit. The people who are agreeing with me are starting to convince me that I'm wrong. To the people calling my parents nasty things in my PMs or just saying they aren't good people, you're dead wrong. My mom is the most caring and kind-hearted woman in the world, and I should have made that more clear in my post. To be clear, I'm also not a monster. I don't mistreat Allie. I get her birthday and Christmas gifts every year. However, I'm starting to understand that I did do a bad thing publicly by excluding her at my wedding because I wanted it to be exactly how I imagined. Especially because my mom was apparently blindsided by my feelings. I was 16 to 18 when Allie started coming around a lot, and I didn't form the same bond everyone else did. I never super liked being around kids, including my sister, who by all accounts behaved way worse than Allie ever did. But I recognize that she's become part of our family, and I think I'm going to make more of an effort to get to know her properly, because I do know she is very mature and intelligent for her age. I also don't mean to minimize what Maya and Allie have gone through. By saying she wasn't physically abused, I more so meant to explain why she hadn't been legally removed from her mother's house. She does have an extended family that actually cares about her, but they live at minimum an hour away, so she stays with my parents the majority of the time. Thank you all for your input. Down in the comments there's quite a few replies that I wanted to share. that are polar opposites of each other. People saying either you're the a-hole or you're not the a-hole. By particular title 42, I'm so sorry, but you're the a-hole. Unless my math is failing me, this child entered your life when you were 16 and she was about 4. And you already had 3 other biological siblings younger than you but older than her. Your words sound resentful as if you started being neglected at that time. But you're taking it out on Allie like her sister or babysitter removing her from her really bad home life as a preschooler was her fault. Like she had designs on worming her way into your family. That's not what happened. I hope you understand that. Perhaps therapy could help. Edit for clarity. You're an a-hole because you were a jerk to Allie at your wedding. You could have gotten your immediate family photos in a much nicer fashion. Edit 2 because people keep trying to give the information that I already have. I know Allie is not adopted. I know she's not OP's family. I know that Maya is really Allie's sister. I know that OP has every right to exclude whoever she feels like on her wedding day. I know she owes Allie nothing. I still think she's an a-hole for the way she behaved. I'm not sure why everybody wants to change my mind about it. Edit 3, Michael and Maya's relationship did not start when they were 16. I question my math because I'm not sure how old people are when they're freshmen. I was 14 or 15, so I went with 14. Underneath that by Rayasa. OP seems to be a bit jealous of Allie. Rayasa, I actually agree with you on, there was one paragraph in here where I just got the vibe that she is jealous. I think it's actually the first paragraph. Where is it? Hang on. The one statement that actually makes me see that you are jealous here. Yet my parents spend so much time and resources on her, it's ridiculous. You for some reason have a problem with your parents spending time and money on another kid that yes isn't related to you, but why is it that everybody else is cool with them doing this and you think it's ridiculous? Underneath those commenters by Squeaky Wheels. No, this is not the a-hole. OP was pretty much grown when this girl started coming around the family. If I was 16 to 18 and my brother's girlfriend's kid sister started coming around, I would have pretty much had nothing to do with her too. You're busy with friends in school, then college. This girl might be quote, 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 family, quote, 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 to the parents or brother, but she's not to OP, and OP is 1,000% reasonable for wanting a family photo with the people she grew up with. Under that by Rando Calrissian. Oh, it's that guy again, the Lando Calrissian guy. Nothing adds to past family trauma like being told you don't belong with the family that embraced you to help you overcome it. You're the a-hole. I'm torn on this one because like one commenter said, yes, she was fully grown and then she went off to college. She didn't see this kid too regularly by the sounds of it. She was off doing her teenage and, young adult things, and she doesn't consider her family. But what does she lose by having a small girl in the picture? Like, is she going to have to explain to somebody, oh, that's Maya's sister, Allie? She could even say, I never really grew up with her a lot. I didn't spend a whole ton of time with her, but I really didn't want her to feel left out on my wedding day. And people would see her as a nice person if she did that. Oh, that was kind of you. Instead, she caused a big argument on her wedding day, and now there's actually a bit of a black cloud over her wedding day as well because everybody got angry with her. I have to say, and I get resentment from people whenever I say this, I can understand only wanting your immediate family there, but it just doesn't make sense to me for her to exclude Allie and not Maya. Maya's not immediate family either. There's some sort of resentment for Allie. Our next story is by Epiphanies050. Am I the a-hole for letting my vegan nephew eat meat and dairy during his visit? My sister Rachel, who's a 24 female, and her husband Frank, who's 43 male, decided to go on a couples retreat for their anniversary over the summer. Rachel is my only sibling, and her son, Bennett, who's 15 male, is my only nephew. Because we live on opposite sides of the country, I only get to see them in person once every couple of years. Since I, 36 male, had recently moved to a beach town, Rachel and Frank suggested that Bennett could come for a visit. I was excited by the idea and told Rachel to send me an email with everything I needed to know. The email contained the name and contact of the couple's retreat and flight information, as well as recipes for several vegan dishes. Rachel and Frank are very into veganism and New Age spirituality. Not my cup of tea, but no judgment. Though I usually eat a high-protein diet, I resigned myself to cooking vegan meals for the week that Bennett stayed with me. His flight landed in the evening, after which we watched a movie and ate some popcorn before going to bed. The next day, I took Bennett to the grocery store to get some snacks and give me more ideas of things to make. He asked what I would normally cook for guests. I told him I enjoy grilling and would usually make burgers, pork chops, steak, and seafood. Bennett said all of that sounded great and told me not to go any trouble on his account. I was surprised and told him I thought he was vegan. He said his parents were vegan and that he eats whatever they put in front of him. However, Bennett claimed he didn't care about any of that stuff and would be happy to eat what I eat. Rachel's email never said Bennett had to eat vegan food, so I loaded up the shopping cart with various meats to grill. Bennett also threw in a couple tubs of ice cream. I had a great time with Bennett and was sad to see him go. Rachel told me later that the visit was a highlight of his summer. Everything seemed well until a few days ago when I posted some pictures from Bennett's visit on my Facebook page, one of which showed Bennett tearing into a pile of steamed shrimp. Rachel called a few hours later and angrily accused me of trying to undermine their values. I told her she never said that Bennett had to keep a vegan diet and said she needs to discuss this with him. She said I should have known better and asked if I would serve pork to a kid from a Jewish or Muslim family. I told her that veganism isn't a religion and she should have made her expectations clear. Am I the a-hole? It honestly sounds to me straight up that the kid is eating meat behind his parents' back, and he just doesn't let them know about it. He's old enough to make his own decisions about what he wants to eat. Down in the comments by PFX Vamps. Not the a-hole for giving him meat, a-hole for accidentally, I'm hoping, ratting him out on Facebook. I mean, you had to know that that photo wasn't gonna go well. Under that by the OP, several posters have said this and I feel I need to push back a little. Of course I didn't intend to cause Bennett any grief with his parents, but nor did he give me any reason to think his parents might disapprove. My sister and her husband ascribed to a sort of free-range parenting style and always touted how they are raising their son to be an autonomous free thinker. Bennett was completely nonchalant about eating meat and dairy during his visit with me. Never once did he even suggest that we should keep his eating habits a secret. If he had, that would have tipped me off to the fact that his parents didn't approve, and we would have stuck to the vegan diet. I just figured his relationship with meat was like my relationship with Chinese food growing up. My parents hate Chinese food, so we never ordered Chinese takeout or went to any Chinese restaurants. However, my parents wouldn't have cared if I bought Chinese food for myself or went to a Chinese restaurant with my friends. Though Rachel and her husband are vegans, I didn't think they were mandating that lifestyle for Bennett, hence why I didn't think we needed to hide what Bennett ate while he was with me. Under that by Available Suit 8168. Your sister and brother-in-law sound a bit hypocritical. They are free-range parents but expect him to follow them? That's not free-range. Every time that I read that somebody's free-range in this post, I'm thinking of chickens and free-range eggs. Our last story today is by Bride Singer 23. Am I the a-hole for leaving up a picture that angers my mother-in-law? I'm a 25 female and I married my husband Joe, 27, 4 months ago. We dated all through high school and college, so we have been in each other's lives and in each other's families for quite some time. Joe's father died when we were seniors in high school, and his sister Jill died 3 years ago. Since then, his mother, Jean, has been, in my opinion, unhinged. I cannot imagine her sense of loss, and I know everyone has their own grief process, so I really try not to judge. But she makes everything about her grief. She didn't come to our college graduation because she would never go to see Jill graduate from college. We try to be especially kind to her on Mother's Day, but she spends hours at the cemetery and gets very irate if we leave before she's ready to. She insists we give our first child her husband's name as a first or middle name and gets angry when we say we'll name our future children as we see fit. There have been other incidents too. She's done so much to push Joe away while also relying on him for emotional and sometimes financial support. They have a very unhealthy relationship now. It came to a head when we were wedding planning. I invited her to come wedding dress shopping with me, my mom, my grandma, and my maid of honor. I told her she did not need to come if it was going to be painful for her, but she said she would be happy to. To all our surprise, she came and brought a wedding gown that Jill had purchased to save for her own wedding someday. She said it would help her if I tried it on, and I did, which made her cry, but then she insisted it was my dress and I didn't need to get another one. After multiple refusals, she pouted the rest of the time. It was so awkward for everyone. This led to a lot of drama to the point where Joe, and me, but mostly Joe, did not want her at the wedding because we couldn't trust her not to cause some kind of scene and because we thought it would be terrible for her mental health. We asked her not to come and she agreed not to. I got to have a dance with my dad and my mom surprised Joe by stepping in for a mother's dance with him. They smiled and laughed the whole time. It was the most special part of our wedding to me. I recently changed my Facebook cover photo to a picture of Joe and my mom dancing and laughing. Jean saw this and has been coming at us for it, saying it's a reminder that she was excluded from her son's wedding day. I told her I'm not taking it down, and if she doesn't want to see it, she can simply not look at my Facebook. She said I am inconsiderate of her feelings, and that I'm an a-hole for this, because it drives another wedge between her and her son. Am I the a-hole? Everybody grieves differently. There is a series of events that you go through when grieving, but some people will grieve for the rest of their lives, and it sounds like something here triggered a mental fallout with her, like she's not doing well mentally. A lot of people in the comments suggested that she needs to get into grief therapy, and it sounds like she does. She can't just spend the rest of her life being sad. That just leads to depression. It sounds like she actually may be there already, and it's so hard to get out of depression. It's so hard. Because everything that you should do to bring yourself out of depression is something that you don't want to do when you're depressed. Down in the comments by Adventurous Try 1728. At this point, I think you should use it as a bargaining chip. You guys need to keep her at arm's length until she gets into grief counseling with a therapist and meets with a therapist long term. Until she's working with a grief therapist, every event will become like your wedding did. You want this dealt with before a child is in the picture, truly, not the a-hole. Under that by the OP. Every event already has. This was just our breaking point. She doesn't see Joe on his birthdays. She missed his college graduation. We've tried spending some holidays with her, but it's just awful every time. Underneath that by Adventurous Try 1728 again. Then Joe needs to push hard for grief therapy for her. And if she won't go, then he needs to go to therapy and learn how to deal with her because this is no way to live. And underneath that by Verdant Witch, honestly, he should get therapy regardless of if his mom agrees. Yeah, if she won't go to therapy, then he should be getting some therapy to learn how to deal with her just being this big grief bomb that brings everybody down. Our stories for today have come to a close. I'm sorry to end it on kind of a sad story, but that's just how these stories go sometimes. Regardless, until we meet again, I hope you guys have a fantastic day.